Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this afternoon's concert, which Glen Goerzen and I, Andy Brodie, are giving on Zoom under our name Duo Accord. We specialize in the performance of Baroque music as well as Glen's own compositions. I should mention that we are new to performance on Zoom, so if we develop problems, you can blame Glen and I. Glen and I became acquainted through our participation in Aura, which is the classical music choir in Vernon, where we both live. We began performing together in 2013, so we haven't been around that long. A final note, the next selection you will hear is from Cantata 156 by Bach, and usually goes under the name Arioso. Just a second. Page 19. Sorry.
Well, it's so nice that you've decided to join us for this concert this afternoon. I'm really quite flattered that you're here to listen. So, as Andy said, that was that lovely Sinfonia from Bach's Cantata 156. That's actually been adapted from from the piece for oboe. So it works quite well on the flute there. The next piece is going to be by Sammartini. And I don't know if very many people will have heard of Sammartini. He's a composer that's considered to be late Baroque. And his dates fall about 10 years after Handel's dates. And so his music sounds like Baroque, but it's got this lovely sort of light, elegant quality, which they sometimes call galant. So it's the galant style. I think you probably enjoy this piece as much as we do. So now you know about Sammartini. And now we're going to do two more by Sammartini. And then the next two pieces are from one of his sonatas. Let's see here. I made a mistake, folks. We are now doing Handel. So the story behind this is I enjoy listening to Handel a lot. And one of my recordings that I listen to a lot is the Concerto Grossos. And there was this beautiful Larghetto in one of the Concerto Grosso that has this lovely chording background with a very straightforward melody. I thought, well, we can probably do this on flute and guitar. And so that piece worked out really nicely. And then I thought, well, I need more than just one piece. Let's pair it with the Allegro. It's a fugal movement. And then I didn't realize that would take about a month of really, really hard work to arrange. But now that it's all put together, I really like it. And you might not notice that it was meant to be played by an orchestra. So here's a couple of pieces from Handel's Concerto Grossos. 14. Okay, we're going to be doing another unfamiliar composer for you now. His name is Hasse, composer born in 1699. So he also falls into this kind of neat period between Baroque and classical. And I've chosen two pieces from his Sonata in A major. One thing about this time period in music is that the flute was just coming into its own. Prior to this, it was actually the recorder, which was the flute that people played, and the transverse flute was just starting to become developed. And some people may know about Frederick the Great, who was a flute player and a patron of music. And this piece was probably written for Frederick the Great. So we're going to be doing two movements, a nice Adagio and a Vivace. Okay, so let's hear it for lesser known composers, because that's just great music, I think. Um, Next on our plate here, we have, we're going to break out of this Baroque mode. We're going to go into classical with Haydn. This is a piece that Andy brought to me, and I first thought, oh, they've arranged a piece of orchestra music for flute. But then when I went to listen to the symphony, Haydn's actually written a whole movement of his Symphony 24 for flute. So it's kind of neat that this piece is the part that Andy's playing is actually the orchestral flute part for the entire movement. Of course, I have to work out the chords on the guitar, but of all the pieces that we've played, this one almost seems like it could have been written for guitar. It fits and it suits the guitar so well. We're going to do one more piece before we take a 10-minute intermission. It's going to be another piece by Sammartini.
See you in 10 minutes.
Welcome back. We're going to play those two pieces by Sammartini that I introduced about 6 pieces ago now. I thought I'd talk just briefly about basso continuo. So composers during this time period had a very clever shorthand for writing out their music for their musicians. So they wrote out a melody line, which in this case is for the flute. That's pretty straightforward. But then for the accompaniment, they simply wrote down a bass line, and below the notes, they put down little numbers and little figures that told the composer what the chords were. And it's kind of interesting because the music doesn't indicate exactly how you're to play it. It gives you the bass line, but then you as either a keyboard player or a guitar player, you have to figure out how to work these chords in and what kind of positions you're going to play the chords in. And I find this really a neat and fun challenge. It's something that's kind of become my pastime for the past number of years. So here's a couple of more pieces by Sammartini. Okay, that's some amazing flute playing, Andy. Well, really, very, very nice. Now we're going to switch to Handel. Always been my favorite composer. This is a sonata in C major. This piece would have originally been written for a recorder, which of course works perfectly well on the flute. So we're going to play two movements from this C major sonata for Handel. Well, we're coming close to the end here now. Got two more pieces for you. The first piece is by Gluck. It's a famous piece for flute it's the ballet from the opera Orpheus and Eurydice. And following that, we'll do our final piece, which will be a really fun giga from Corelli's Opus 5 violin sonatas. And we'll start with the Gluck and then the Corelli. just going to say one more thing before we play the last piece. All of my arrangements I've digitized, and if you like any of the pieces you would like to play them yourself, send me an email, and I can any of these pieces I can send to you through an email. So our final piece, Corelli.
Well, that's the end of our concert, ladies and gentlemen. So we thank you very much for coming and listening and watching us, having a wonderful time enjoying ourselves. We love this music, and we hope you do too. It's Baroque music has some special quality about it that we so much enjoy. So maybe one of these days we'll do this again, and thank you again for coming.
Thanks again. Thanks for signing up.